Sorry, not sorry. Britney Spears appears to make a dig at ex-boyfriend Justin Timberlake shortly after the pop star makes a comment about apologies on stage. Brit takes to Instagram on February 1st, writing, "Someone told me someone was talking about me on the streets. Do you want to bring it to the court, or will you go home crying to your mom like you did last time?" Adding, "I'm not sorry." Her shade comes hours after Justin dropped an F-bomb during a performance at New York City's Irving Plaza on January 31st. Per fan footage spread across social media, Justin says, quote, "I'd like to take this opportunity to apologize to absolutely nobody." Justin then reportedly proceeded to perform his 2002 song Cry Me a River, which many speculated to be about his then breakup with the toxic singer. E! News has reached out to Justin's rep for a response and has not yet heard back. Fans think Justin seems to be referencing a recent post from Britney. The 42-year-old appeared to hint in a since-deleted post that she was sorry for some of the Justin Timberlake-related bombshells that she included in her recent memoir, The Woman in Me. In a post complimenting Justin's new music, Brit wrote alongside footage of the pop star, "I want to apologize for some of the things I wrote about in my book. If I offended any of the people I genuinely care about, I am deeply sorry." Justin, who shares kids Silas and Phineas with wife Jessica Biel, has not addressed his ex-girlfriend's memoir publicly, though a source told E! News ahead of the book's release that Justin was, quote, "feeling great," and that he has been working on music and loving what he's been making.
Gwen Stefani admits balancing motherhood and life as a pop star was no sweet escape. During an upcoming episode of the Skinny Confidential Him and Her podcast, Gwen gets honest about what it was like being on tour in 2005 while she was pregnant with her now 17-year-old son, Kingston, saying, "I find out I'm pregnant with Kingston and I was in rehearsals and I was like so sick. It's the first time I had to work with this band. First time I ever had dancers. First time I ever did costume changes. First time being pregnant, and I think I cried every night." Yet heading back into the studio to record The Sweet Escape after giving birth to Kingston was a great experience, adding, "It just felt so right to keep going with it creatively. It was just so real and right." Although 2 years later she found herself in the studio once again with no doubt and having just given birth to her second son, Zuma, with then husband Gavin Rossdale, she reveals she had a more difficult experience, telling the podcast, "I had Zuma and we just kept going in the studio and we ended up writing the record called Push and Shove, and to leave the kids to go do that, I would feel so guilty and selfish. I would go there and knock my head against the wall and no song would come, and yet I'm not with my kid and I'm not good enough to write a freaking song." But she did end up writing an album, and then after a few years she said a series of miracles occurred, including the birth of her and Gavin's third son, Apollo, who is now 9, when she was in her 40s. Continuing the story, "I basically had Kingston and he was like, 'Mommy, when are you gonna have a baby?' And despite her telling him she was too old," she added, "he would start praying every night for this baby, and 4 weeks later praying every night please let my mom have a baby. And I'm pregnant with Apollo, and I'm 43 years old, and it's this true miracle." Shortly after giving birth to her youngest, something miraculous happened again. She got the call to do The Voice, where she ended up meeting her now husband, Blake Shelton. So that was the second miracle. The first miracle was getting pregnant, the second was The Voice, and then the third was obviously meeting Blake. And when receiving her star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2023, she teared up next to her sweet husband, Blake Shelton, by her side.
"It was clear to me that she was a mother first and foremost over anything else in the world. That was her number one job. And now standing here almost 10 years later, after I first met her, I can say without question that being a mother is still the most important thing in her life."
Shivats, and we begin with a story that a lot of people are talking about, a rap battle between two big artists. We're talking about Meg Thee Stallion from Houston and Nicki Minaj. Well, it's turning potentially dangerous. Online threats were made to destroy a local gravesite belonging to the Houston rapper Meg Thee Stallion's mother. One social media influencer says that her home address was actually posted online after she weighed in on the beef. Fox 26's Sherman DeSalle spoke with her exclusively and joins us now in studio to wrap up what's happened so far. Sherman.
A lot has. It's kind of crazy, Rashi. Two chart-topping MCs fighting over verses, and while that's not a new concept in hip-hop, the things that have happened as of late have people wondering if it's gone too far. From doxing to grave consecrations, here's a quick breakdown of what happened and what's illegal to do.
Pearland police tell Fox 26 they're frequently patrolling a local cemetery. It's where the body of Holly Thomas, the late mother of Houston rapper Meg Thee Stallion, now lies. Thomas passed in 2019 after battling brain cancer. Many online are speculating the fan base of rapper Nicki Minaj, also known as Barb's, are behind threats of desecrating the grave, a state felony.
You know, obviously we don't want anything to happen, and not only to that grave, but just any grave in that cemetery. It's obviously a place of peace and rest, and for anyone to try to go in there to do some type of damage or anything like that is completely unacceptable.
There's a current feud between the two rappers. Meg dropped a song called Hiss, where listeners believed some of the lyrics are about Minaj's husband, who was convicted of attempted rape of a teenager in the 1990s. Minaj responded with her own diss. In Bigfoot, she mentioned Megan being shot in the foot by rapper Tory Lanez and mentions Megan's deceased mother.
That first song really wasn't.
Houston business owner and TikToker Mecca Evans says after she posted her response online to Minaj's diss song, the address and phone numbers of her and her family members were posted online. She's one of the many influencers targeted.
It was a bit nerve-wracking in terms of wanting to be very clear that this is not something that's okay.
Doxing is when a person's information, like their address or phone number, is posted online with malicious intent. In 2023, Texas lawmakers made it a Class B misdemeanor. She believes a teenager was behind the ordeal.
Morally, you know what you're doing is wrong, but you might not understand the repercussions of your actions legally and how they're going to come down on you and your parents if you really get your hands dirty in a certain way. If you think doxing is okay, you can come around, mess around, find out. Open your eyes, think you're going to see your daddy, meet our Heavenly Father.
That's what the woman said. Well, if a doxing case gets worse and there's physical harm to the victim, the offense becomes a Class A misdemeanor. Mecca tells me she's been safe the whole time. She's turned URLs and IP addresses into the FBI. Minaj has thanked her fans online for supporting her in the past few days. Well, Megan has not commented on any of the recent activity. Reporting in studio, Sherman DeSalle, Fox 26 News.